That was a missed decisive strike. So before the first gen even pops.
And we do see Death Wish convicted of murder here, as you can see by the score to the final set.
Hey, what it do? What it do, Vigo's Core? Getting ready to start off with basically our first preseason matchup here. CDM versus Millennium. And today, we've got a new guest up on the desk with me today. We've got Counselor Spokeman. How you doing, Spoke?
I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a bit of a long day here in the land of Australia. I've been awake for quite a while now, but I'm up in the early hours to jump on the desk for Vigo's Court, and I am super excited to get the opportunity to be here with you.
This is going to be a whole lot of fun. I really look forward to it here. I do see that I've got a little bit of encoding overload. Hopefully that's not going to be transposing over to the stream. I look like I'm running smooth, so I think I'm okay. But today, yeah, you're moving around a little bit. I might, we might have to end up looking at some things here, but, this should be fun. So CDM was our, champions from season 0 and season 1 here. And then of course, Millennium coming to the table with a lot of experience. And of course, you were mentioning as we were getting ready, a team that you definitely know your experience, has a lot of experience coming to the table. So I'm going to be interested to see here if this is one of those situations where the time off has, if the time off has kind of allowed for CDM to kind of switch up the mind, feel a bit better, come to the table with some new strategies, or if Millennium with all of their current experience kind of emerges on top.
Yeah, it definitely is personally speaking, taking some time away from it all and just step back, looking at things big picture before going back into it with a potential different mindset, different strategy, different people, whatever it is you need to make the team work. There's all sorts of things you can do that are beneficial from taking a step back and giving it a mull over, So I definitely see that being a possibility. And from what it sounds like, this is the case for what's happening with Millennium.
I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, so no, Millennium's been around. CDM is coming back from the break. Yes.
Ah, okay. Gotcha. But if they're season 1 champs, they're definitely going to be putting up a fight.
Yeah, I mean, CDM was one of those where, I mean, really had a good control of the league in season 0 and season 1. And then if I'm not mistaken, I believe they heard about us coming back for season 2 because we had taken like 6 months off between season 1 and season 2. And I think they had heard about season 2 just a little bit too late. We had already kind of started. So I don't know if they were doing any other comp. I do a lot of comp. I haven't really seen them elsewhere, but I don't know how much they've been. I mean, sometimes all you need to do is scrim, right? I mean, you know that. You do a little bit of the comp esport gaming yourself, right?
I do partake in the esports a bit myself, but it has been a little while, I will say. I do miss the, I guess, rhythm of doing scrims a couple times a week or just once a week, maybe, depending on how people are feeling with their IRL stuff, because at the end of the day, my mindset when it comes to scrims and stuff is you always got to prioritize the IRL.
Right.
You got to be there for the scrims too, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, and so I think that's one thing that's actually really good to bring up, especially since we are in preseason, right? So it's going to be interesting. One, as we had taken some time off, I know we have a couple of teams who are returning from last season, but admittedly, I feel like I haven't really seen them much outside of Vigo's, since season 2 finished. But we do have some teams who are new to Vigo's this year, who I definitely see consistently, whether it be DBE or some other places as far as comp DBD. So I think this season is going to be shaping out to be really good. So I think starting off the season with preseason with our returning champ and a new team that's bringing a lot of experience to the table is going to be really fun today.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that there. I've seen some of Millennium's performances in, I believe, DBD League a while ago, as well as in DBE, as well as other tournaments. I can't name them all off the top of my head.
Right.
All
Yeah,
over the place.
They come a lot with experience. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, the teams that I remember really have made an impact because I don't really remember a lot of things. So I guess take that as a compliment, if you will. But I'm sure Millennium is going to be giving us a really, really impressive performance today.
So I know we had a little bit of a late start as far as because of the technical difficulties we have in the background. Real quick while we load in, let's talk about the first map that we are going to be going to today. We're going to be going to the Cold Tower here, which is CDM's home map. It is kind of more of a traditional map that we're used to seeing in comp. 132 square tiles, 6 hook minimum, 11 hook maximum. It is CDM's home as well. A lot of options going to be on the table. Now, this is preseason, so I'm going to be really interested to see what options we see as far as killer-wise, but let's talk about how our killers here are going to be putting those points onto the table here, because of course on the killer side, one of the most important thing, why is this starting here? Hello, there we go, thank you very much. As far as on the killer side, our most important thing is of course is going to be getting those hooks, right? Now over here in Vigo Sports, you get 2 hooks for the first point hook, second hook. The third hook, the final hook, is the one that matters the most. If you happen to be camping out and progressing hooks, you do get punished to the killer. You get 1 hook less. Now, of course, as far as some extra bonus points you can get, if you get the 4K, you get 2 points. If you are like a slug god, a slug machine, and then you get to a 7th and an 8th progression, or to make sure that the other team can't starve you, you do get a bonus points for those. If we happen to see a Mori, you get the adjacent hook, and the entity kill is going to be the hook plus progressions in the end game. If we happen to see a bleed out, that is going to result in 0 points. It's kind of a way for survivors to be able to get a little bit of points back towards the killer if they are going for the end game. Those really sweaty killers, slugging for the 4K out here, But we are seeing a very quick load in here, so let's go ahead and take another trip on back into the fog here, and it does look like we are going to start off with the nurse here, bringing out the S tiers right off the bat. And we are going to be seeing, of course, corrupt intervention is pretty well going to be a staple throughout the season. Not surprised to see it here. Really confident by nothing. Also, I realized I forgot to turn on the names on the left-hand side. I apologize to Spoker for that. Streamer things. But honestly, right now, nothing doing a really good job.
Yeah, no, a really great chase from our survivor here starting off as well, lasting a decent amount of time against the nurse here. Now, something I've noticed a lot when spectating a nurse when it comes to comp or anything of the sort, there is a technical difficulties with the chase music being absent. So we'll try and keep you in the loop with chases as they happen. But that lack of audio just throws a lot of people off guard, me personally as well. So we are going to be seeing a chase onto our Nia here, who's going to be faking out that second blink here. He's going to get a one-tap through the wall of this pallet shim here. Really, really nice blink by Nothing here. Neon doubles back at the perfect time, but still goes down to that second blink there. That's going to be the first down of the game here with a decent amount of time passing through the trial. If I had to guess, Corrupt Intervention probably with only about 15 to 20 seconds remaining at the start of this trial here.
Yeah, I mean, actually, we're talking about a full 30 seconds left until Corrupt Intervention, so a little bit more. I mean, right now, Nothing in a really good start. And you're talking about, you also not only have a hook, you have another injured survivors. And our survivors right now, they know about the thanatophobia, so 10% slowdown across the board on anybody working on a gen. We also saw those sparks on the gen as we had pushed up towards the 3 gen. And also as we push our survivor up here off the main building, that's going to be that ruin that regresses the gens at 200%.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see all of these perks coming out and getting revealed very early on in the game to the survivors, knowing that there's not really that much in the ways of end game protection and that sort of thing. So it's going to be a very aggressive build when it comes to trying to secure stages and kills as fast into the game as possible. So that pop, that ruin, that Thanat, just slowing down gens as much as possible here. Now we are going to be seeing a forced second stage here, which will deny the killer 1 progression point, but it will still be that 2 points for getting that second hook there, as we see. Linking back to the main building, which is fully regressed now. We previously saw our Ace repairing up there, who is still currently injured, as well as our Meg as well from the start of the game. So still a lot of injuries. Going for the prioritizing of the gens here, I think, and that was a dead hunt that I'm sure JRM would be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe just a little bit of the nerves, right, we're seeing here from our survivors. We do see a double back is going to be able to get the ace who was reset in order to get the save here. We are going to see a 1-for-1. I think Nothing here, though, is going to see if maybe you can finish out the borrowed time, then also get the down. That'd be so much pressure, especially since as we do still have the ruin up in play at this moment. There's going to be an early blink. There's the down. So we're going to be continuing our tunnel out on the Nia. You have somebody needing to rotate over to pick up your slug. Ruin still in play. 15% slowdowns on the gens. Nothing right now, just in a whole lot of control.
Yeah, this is an absolute power position to be in right now. Now, Thanatophobia is only going to drop down to 10 now with the sacrifice here, but with Ruin still in play, it's really going to be tough to make a comeback from this position, especially because the survivors here haven't really been able to position themselves in a way that they can pull off these resets and still try and keep up with gen pressure. But a really nice reset of the Dead Hard in time to use it again there to dodge out a blink attack there, and we hear the Ruin getting cleansed across the ways as our Meg runs right into Nothing's face here and unfortunately goes down to that quick chain of blinks there. But with no Ruin left on these gens, we're going to see that Pop Goes the Weasel has just come into play here and put another 25% regression on that gen there.
Yeah, we can see that Nothing was playing no games coming in here on the coal tower. I mean, expecting to set the pace here in trial number 1, right? I mean, coming out and you had plenty of value from the Ruin for it lasting this long into the trial. I mean, we're talking about 4 hook stages already down to a 3v1. You've found the ace who was holding on to that sprint burst, building a little bit of distance. But of course, we also have Nurse getting those blinks back really quickly, swinging and missing. Catching the back of the ace right off the back of the, well, you know.
The back. Wow, a really nice fake out of that second blink there. It could be really unpredictable with your movement when you're baiting out that second nurse blink when they've got distance to make up. But that blink was beautiful, almost precise. That first blink would have been a 1-tap down, I would have to say. But that's going to be another hook for Nothing here. I believe we have seen Ace getting hooked previously, so this would be the second stage, if I'm not mistaken, which would be a bonus. No, that's a fresh hook, actually. Ignore me, but that's going to be a quick 2 points there as the main building generator does pump, though.
Yeah, we are going to see, though, at this point. Oh, the M1. Now, you're going to find a really quick connection here. This is tough. We do see a... Oh, my goodness gracious. We see a really confident Nurse play right now from Nothing here to be able to get the down. We see the broken status onto the ace. I'm not sure if maybe potentially that was a deliverance. If that's the case, you know, right now you have what the Megan potentially trying to stick again, getting those very, costly generator points, because I don't know if we're going to be looking at any escapes unless it's an end game.
Yeah, I think it would be tough to get any sort of outs at this point unless it was through the hatch. Now, it's been long enough for Renewal to prog, so I think this is going to be a deliverance from our ace here, especially with how quickly it was once our Michaela was the one in chase and going down here. So waiting until the killer is, busy with someone else to pop your deli is a good time for it. As we see our injured Meg with another really nice dead hard, not afraid to use it and using it really, really well. Beautiful to see, taking the chase over back towards the main building part of the map and gets caught out crouching at the window. A really nice prediction by Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, Nothing just really looking good. I mean, a really nice tune-up game here to start off preseasons. And if anything, I wonder if maybe part of the reason coming out with an S tier to start off preseason here for your, I think this is Millennium's debut season, if I'm not mistaken. I know they weren't here last season. Not sure if they were here 0 or 1, but coming out and, really putting the foot down, pedal down to the metal from the word go, and just coming out with a really strong killer. Do you think that might be a message to send to the league?
I mean, potentially, but as we've said, picking that S tier killer to start off first to really make your mark could come back to bite you later on if you don't have as strong killers to work with leading on into the later stages of the preseason here. So honestly, I feel like it's one of those things that could really just go either way. Like, it's impressive seeing a really skilled nurse play both mechanically and game sense wise, and that's exactly what we're seeing here now with Millennium. So, but there's nothing scarier than a killer who is, well, not just adamant, but competent with a wider variety of killers as opposed to, just some of the best. And that's what would scare me more.
Yeah, and I mean, right now, so you've got yourself a slug. We see Nothing taking a quick look on the way back to the hook. Oh, actually, literally right as Nothing blinked back to pick up your slug, you do see the unhook across the way. And this is where we see CDM using the preseason here to try and work on these, act right now as if we only need a generator or two to get done. And you're really fighting tooth and nail through trial number 1 here. I mean, really understandable. Like, right now, it'd be really easy for a lot of teams to just be like, we'll see what happens in trials 2 through 4, but instead we see CDM really fighting throughout the course. And we actually even see Michaela trying to pull edge map, not quite going to be able to avoid the swing from Nothing here. And I mean, honestly, just Nothing making light work of things right now.
Yeah, this is an absolute slaughter right now. We do see the rescue happening across the waves though, which is good to see. It's a really tough spot for the survivors though, because they're both injured. They're both gonna get, one of them's gonna get spotted before any kind of reset will happen, even with stuff like We'll Make It, even with any sort of healing perk, which you'd very commonly see against the strongest of killers. That heal's just not going to happen in time by the time Sally comes over and comes to play. So it's a point where the survivors just have to split up and hope that one of them gets the hatch, really.
And remind me, Spoker, other than what we saw the first, I think, hook changed into progression, every other hook has been a, new hook, right? So we're talking about 10 of our 11 stages are not progressed. Oh, gets done, stupid, says the ace. And I mean, at least we're seeing CDM still fighting. I love it. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, that was an amazing one tap right there. But yeah, what were you saying just before though, Q?
Oh, I was just saying, I was just saying, as far as you love seeing the fight through, but also I was just saying it from Nothing's part here. Other than the first progression, everything else has been, I mean, there's been no other progression. It's almost like a 12-hook game, you know what I mean?
Yeah. This right now, this is an 11-hook game. Up until this down happens, as you really gotta slug for the 4K here to secure the 2 points that you get for getting the 4K, I believe. And there it is. What a beautiful down there. It's, some of them just look like they shouldn't hit, but at the end of the day, that's just nurse things,
Yeah, I do gotta say though, I love the way that she looks now that she's been completely fixed, right? No blink bugs, like you don't see anybody with the stutters or anything, and she just looks so smooth when you see players, especially like Nothing coming out here playing at this level.
I have to say I do have very mixed feelings with the fixes that they've done for Nurse here, but it's some things are good, some things are bad. I think everyone will agree that the bug where the Nurse would get fatigued after the stun animation when stunning with a pallet, it just created a really healthy like style of play where winning that pallet stun against a nurse gives her that double fatigue, which will then give you the distance to potentially still get double blinked on if the nurse blinks properly, but to still have more room to mind game and sort of make the chase last a bit longer, you know. So that's just one thing I don't really like with the new nurse change, but hey, every change is healthy once everyone gets used to it, I would say.
And we are going to see, I mean, when we look at our scoreboard right now, Millennium coming out, and I mean, just really looking, I mean, honestly, absolutely dominating really there as far as when we talk about on the killer side. I'm going to be interested to see, I mean, we know Millennium survivor side, you know, from experience is pretty strong, but I want to see how they respond here. Because right now you talk about 29 to 2. Sometimes it might be easy for survivors to kind of let the pedal off the gas, but I think right now with it being preseason, you want to make sure that you're tuned up and ready to go, right?
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to show any sign of weakness when you're starting off in the preseason here. So I'm sure we're going to be expecting to see Millennium still performing at the absolute best that they can on the survivor side, and CDM are going to do everything they can to sort of make up for that last nurse game that we saw. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out.
So here would be a question that I would have for you, and I know that you know, first time on Vigo, I don't want to put you on the spot or anything. All right.
That's fine.
So you get the option obviously through preseason, and we only are going to have a couple of killer options. But if you were thinking of not coming in with an S tier, do you think after a performance like that, do you feel like maybe it encourages people to potentially be looking at bringing out, you know, match like a nurse for a nurse, or what do you think? Or would you rather just brush up and like tune up whatever killer you were like originally looking for?
I think in a scenario like this, where you've just had a very difficult survivor game and you're now on the killer side, if I'm not mistaken, they would have a killer of their pick on the coal tower, right?
Correct, yes.
All right, so in that scenario, because score-wise, you have a ridiculous, I would say, win condition, but in order to match up that scoreboard, basically, is what I'm saying, you would need to obviously bring something strong, something powerful. Mm-hmm. If it's at a point where it's almost unrealistic that you're going to match that score, would it not be the smartest thing to do to bring one of your weakest killers and get that out of the way, knowing that you can't really, you know,
I would say if we're in the season, 100%, right? Because once you're in the season, you're at this point where, and let me see if I pull you up here, if this will help me. I know we're having a little bit of lag on your cam. I think it's the U.S. to Australian connection, but we appreciate you vibing with us regardless, because I need to get that sexy mullet on Vigo's at least every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? But,
oh, yeah. 100%. And I appreciate you already doing the 180-degree flip of the camera to counter for Australia, but yeah, I'm sure that's good enough.
I'm trying to see if we can at least get a little bit of help there. But so if we're in the season, right? If we were in season like week 2, 3, 100% with your strategy. If I don't feel like at this point I can recover and I need to like go for something, right? I am going to probably just throw away one of my, maybe not an Evan, but like something that maybe I want to get a little bit of practice on and save in the back spot for later.
Let's not do Evan dirty like that. Come on now.
I mean, look, you know.
I'm just messing with you.
Yeah. But right now, with it being preseason, we only have a couple. Right. We only have a couple of games. So if you can really burn your S tiers, I think all through. Well, it depends on how many you consider S tier, right? Some people will consider like Spirit, not that.
No, Blight Spirit being top 3.
Yeah. Right. You could burn though your top 3 and then only pick one more for preseason and like you're through, right? So, I don't know. I just feel like do you want to show off your S tier strength to match the S tier strength to show Millennium, yo, we're here to play for this season? Or do you go, you know what? I just wanted to work on, I just wanted to make sure I had, I don't know, Plague comp ready. So I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, bring her out anyways. You know what I mean?
It's I guess in a sense, well, I can't exactly make the one-to-one comparison, but something we do in OCE is our showcase events where we just get two teams to, I guess it's basically just scrimming together and doing tournament format, tournament rules to help teams get comfortable with what it would be like to be playing in the real thing, you know? So we'll have, you know, picks and bans, we'll do all of the things we would normally do, and, you know, everyone will still be playing at their top level, basically. So in that regard, I feel like it would be best if you want to showcase your strength as a team. Preseason would be the perfect time to do it, because people are going to see that performance and be like, damn, these guys are actually, like, they came back from that, or
Right.
they really had everything down pat for that whole thing, you know? Like, it's, you want to make a name for yourself kind of thing, you know? That's just the sort of vibe that I'm getting from it.
I'll be interested. I mean, because of course, Cold Tower. One, anybody who's like been around comp is familiar with Cold Tower. So definitely our killers, definitely our survivors. If you were thinking an S tier, do you? Oh man, I can't help but wonder if you were, because the thing is, now we're looking at CDM's killer. So it is the killer that is coming back from being out of the. I don't want to say out of the loop, but yeah, you know, at least I haven't seen them, and I don't want that to be like, if I haven't seen them, they're not like playing, but like, I feel like I at least have my eyes on a lot of comps. So if anything, that's just been mostly like scrims and stuff. And if they feel like they need to tune up certain killers, maybe this is the time to do it in like a live game setting, you know? Plus, then you're not giving your S tier like footage away.
Exactly. You're not giving away all your top super secret strategies that you got written down on your Word document and locked away behind a password. But no, I feel like there should be no shame in wanting to do your best, even if it is just a preseason or a showcase or anything like that. There's no shame in showing off what you got, you know?
And I am, I'm trying to think. I wasn't around for season 0 or season 1, so I'm trying to remember from off the top of my head, but I don't think this is like their like main killer, which is what's interesting to me. Wonder if maybe we're seeing something where we're tuning up, maybe, you know, a reserve, or maybe it's someone who, again, you're just kind of trying to see where they're at compared to people for like a first live action. I'm not really sure. I think it's King something is I think, right?
Okay. Well, regardless of who the killer is, I'd say a lot can happen in 6 months.
True.
You know?
True.
So regardless of who we're going to be seeing killing, I reckon it's still, you know, expect them to be bringing their A game, you know?
True. Now, we are going to see all of our offerings here. So let's talk about how Millennium's going to look at trying to build up on their lead here on the Survivor side. Because, of course, they did it again. It started on the back. I don't understand, chat. This is preseason. We're doing it. On Survivor side, first thing you got to do, of course, is do the gens. Of course, the first 2 gens worth 1 point. The second, or the third and fourth gen is worth 2 points. If you get the 5th gen done, that is going to be worth 3 points for the Survivor side. The big thing that you do want to do is escape, which is why you're going to see those points go up depending on how many escapes you do get. 1, 2, 4, and 6. So if you get the 4 out, you get big points. All right. You also get some bonus points as far as if you happen to only have one, or if you have an extra hook available other than just one. When you escape, you do get a bonus point. But instead of going through all this, I see we're actually in the game itself. Let's go ahead and take another trip on back into the fog here. Going to be seeing Freaky coming out here, and we are going to see Nurse here, trying to come out with the big guns here. It is, of course, preseason, and first thing we're going to be doing, actually going to be seeing as Freaky looks around, we're going to be noticing that there is a split corrupt, which is, I would say, a little unfortunate for you as a killer, but it does also kind of force your first couple of minutes of play to be more central map, right?
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. It's never a good thing. A little bit late on that second blink, they're going to miss the hit onto our Claudette here. But no, I 100% agree. It forces the survivors to, like back into those. They can't really play the mid-map area as much because that's where your killer's spawning. You want to avoid line of sight and that kind of thing. We did hear a totem cleansing across the way, which I can only assume was Ruin, which is really unfortunate to have taken out of the trial so early on, especially in comparison to our last trial where we still had Ruin up at 3 gens remaining while all the survivors are getting cycled through hooks, whereas we're yet to see our first hit as of right now.
Yeah, I mean, right now we are going to be seeing Freaky here is finding a couple survivors, but right now, also the flashlight with the nice blind as well, which might allow, you know, just for a little bit of disorientation, a little bit of extra distance to be built here by our Fang. A swing and a miss. Do keep in mind right now the Fang is nothing. Of course, the person who was just out here playing as the nurse. So if there is anybody who knows how to loop a nurse, it's usually your very strong nurse players, and gonna be trying to use the shack. Now going to be seeing the first M1, but I would imagine with corrupt intervention coming off of these gens right now and only seeing 1 gen pop so far, they're split up, so that means we're gonna be seeing generators 2 and 3 here soon.
Yeah, most likely, especially with the length of how long our killer's been trying to chase down survivors here now. Quickly noting that nothing being our Feng here, the way that, well, obviously them being given the flashlight in the first place, being able to stop the nurse from being able to blink at certain times and just timing it absolutely perfectly. Wow, and a really nice breakaway there to dodge that quick down at the rock there, knowing not to play loops like that and just make the distance that you can. Going to the edge map, trying to predict a little bit of movement here, and we should eventually see the down onto nothing here, going around this rock here. Another beautiful double back, but gets hit through that tree there. But mechanically on the survivor side, seeing nothing go against the nurse as well just goes to show how much they really know about the killer.
And one thing that we can talk about now that the survivors definitely will have seen is Freaky opting to bring in the deadlock, which we saw start really be kind of become a little bit more shifted into the meta over the course of last season. I know that we had some of our casters, Vader, who thought maybe that there wasn't much value out of it, but we've definitely seen more teams kind of opting to go for it. And I think part of the reason is kind of like we're seeing from Freaky, it really helps you slow down the mid game.
Yeah, and that's a thing that a lot of people seem to forget about, is you can have an amazing early game and still lose in the mid game and result in 4Ks or 3Ks and only getting 1 out if you're lucky, a hatch escape. But slowing down that mid game but still having a quick early game can still lead to a really good killer result, or a survivor result for that matter, depending on what you've got going on. Wow, we're seeing some really nice blinks here from our killer from CDM though, with obviously having a stressful early game with 3 gens currently being popped, still doing their absolute best to keep up with the gen pressure that we're seeing from Millennium here.
Yeah, I mean, Millennium doing, really what we've kind of seen Millennium do over the last couple months across the board in competitive DBD. I mean, one, we had seen the very strong nurse play, but now across the board on the survivors, it doesn't matter who you take chase with. They know how to burn a lot of time, and has done a very good job of keeping Freaky busy as they continue to just pound out these generators. We do see, though, doubling back to the gen that did have the deadlock on it, sitting around 30-35%. But you know, now with the deadlock off the board and still with only 1 hook, I feel like right now you just got to get it down. And I don't know, would you slug here?
Honestly, I wouldn't. I don't think slugging here would be the best thing when you're getting closer to the end game. Oh, wow, a really nice 1-tap there. But by slugging, you're forcing, or basically you're sort of like, you're going to be able to push other survivors off of more active generators, but just going straight for hooks, securing those points, and then moving on to forcing the survivors out of position from the active generators to go for a save. At least 1 survivor's got to go, right?
Right.
And that leaves you with 2 more survivors to either do gens, or 1 to take aggro of the killer and the other to work on the last gen or the last 2 gens, you know? So it's a really complicated argument, which will never really have a right answer, I feel like. There'll be arguments slugging to be the better strat. There'll be arguments for, you know, just going for hooks and going for more chases. But I feel like in this case, we're seeing some really nice, some cheeky clicks here as well from nothing. But we're seeing some really great chases from our survivors here on Millennium.
Ooh, yeah, nothing. Just, I mean, really got the moves like Jagger right now. Able to make sure that they're avoiding. Got another flashlight's going to be able to burn and also get the blinds here, which is going to be, oh, and the chain here as well. Nothing. Oh, I thought was about to get a third one. We are going to at least stay just a little bit closer, but I mean, honestly, doing a phenomenal job right now of just, I mean, being able to burn so much time.
Oh, it's not just time that's been burnt here. I bet the batteries in that beamer have seen better days. That's been used for a good portion of the game here. So as oppressive as it can be, it can only last for so long. So I feel like once that beamer starts to run out, the confidence we'll see from nothing might dwindle a bit here. As we see this is the last generator being at easily 80% progress. But another one pops across the ways here, I believe. And that's going to be all gens done. And that beamer is still making light work of the eyeballs here. I think I'm going blind from this one, Gear.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it just seems like being able to make connection from wherever. Oh, is this has to be a wake-up play. Absolutely so very quick on these doors. And we are going to see it down, unfortunately. Maybe trying to see if you can force a grab. I wonder if maybe we happen to have anyone around doing any breakout gamers. Anyone? Sabo gamers? Metal? Well, probably not Metal of Man. We haven't seen that yet. But we are right by an open door, though, now at this point. So we also see a very quick heal coming in across the way. So if we've got borrowed time, something tells me we're looking at a 4 out here.
And yeah, borrowed time will definitely get the escape here with all the other survivors being healthy. You could have all 3 survivors come on in. The only thing that could ruin this plan for Millennium here is if someone gets grabbed off the hook as the unhook attempts to happen, which I've seen happen from even the best of teams where the killer just goes for an absolutely randomly timed lunge / grab but we do see a beautiful double save here, though. We're not going to be able to body block the Feng, and no, she's just going to slip on right through, and nothing is going to be able to make their way out of the exit gate here, and that's going to be the 4 out for Millennium against the Sally here. Sheesh. And that's it.
Intense. And I don't remember if we had gotten to the point about talking about the escapes, but you got to remember that the third escape is 4 points. The fourth escape is 6 points. So 10 points between those two. I mean, really stacking on here in trial number 2 here. Now, I mean, now it, man, that was tough. We're talking about 54-8 right now.
That is an insane point difference to have a 4K for your killer game and then a 4 out for your survivor game. That's just, oh man, it is tough to see, but at the end of the day, like you gotta be happy for both teams who have, obviously taken the time to be a part of this and show off, and to show off their skill, to show off and be like, you know what, I'm here to play. I want to show what I've got. I want to give it a shot. Yeah, and that's respectable.
I still think. I think CDM is still, breaking the rust off a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, getting back into the swing of things when it comes to comp DBD here. I have a feeling that we are going to be, this is going to be one of those teams that comes on more towards the end of the season. One of those teams, I mean, we saw a couple of teams kind of have a really strong end to their season last year as well. Through season 2, so I'm gonna be interested here. The one thing though, while we have a second, I'm trying to figure out why is it this scene that always gives me so much issues. We're just gonna have to take a look at this here. But yeah, while we're taking a second here in between trials 2 and 3, oh, actually, I'm going to get an invite real quick back into this lobby. Let me get in there, and then we're going to talk about it, because we are switching things up in season 3. Last year, for anybody who was around, and I think we did the same thing as seasons 1 and 0 as well. Anybody who was here for that, we played on the home team's map throughout the entirety of all 4 trials. This season, now you have the home map and an away map. So that means trials 3 and 4 are actually going to be on the home map of Millennium, but it's the way map. You know what I mean? We're going to Millennium's map here. All right. So that means we're no more Cold Tower. We're actually going to be going to the Blood Lodge here, and Azerov's resting place, or Azerov's Wrecker's Realm, I should say. Blood Lodge here.
Auto Haven Records.
Yeah, Auto Haven Records. Thank you, man. I'm just, it's, you know what? I mean, I can't say it's been a long day because you woke up before me. I mean, you know, but you know, I was up early. But yeah, you can see here 168 square tiles, 8 hook minimum, 13 hook maximum. You know, Blood Lodge is one of the, I would say, lesser played Auto Haven maps when it comes to comp consistently, but it can give some advantages, I would say, to the survivors, right? Because it's a little bit longer. You have some more of the filler palettes in the middle, but it does offer 1 or 2 more of your tile, like normal tiles to spawn. Plus, you got the fun bus. Main building can kind of be a little bit of the pain. This is a map where I feel like you would more want to bring your S tiers out, right?
Yeah, you'd want at least any sort of killer that has a decent amount of mobility, at least, due to just the sheer size of the map in itself. And also, it doesn't really have a very oppressive main building in comparison to other maps. For example, Gas Heaven, for example, has a very strong main building, but a smaller overall map size. But Blood Lodge, you just really have to worry about the balanced landing place, to be honest. And seeing killers like, if I had to guess, we're going to see a Blight on Blood Lodge. I feel like that's going to be a given. You got to have that mobility, that pallet breaking ability, or even Nemesis, if that's allowed in this region. I know we don't do it in OCE, but if we see a Nemesis,
I'd say only thing off the table this season, I think, is the Onryo. I would have to double check on that. I think the Onryo's off the table because it was like had just been released, so it hasn't been like addressed. Everything else,
yeah, you'd want to give it some time to get balancing all sorted for that sort of stuff when new content comes out. But let's be honest, man, who's going to pick Onryo on Blood Lodge?
True, yeah. But I mean, so on Blood Lodge, I think you brought up a good point. I mean, we've seen Blight be the home, or Blight's home map be Blood Lodge, I think, in DBE recently, which would mean, which would lead me to believe if Millennium, I think Millennium played in that tournament, it would be a good pick for them because it's something they're kind of used to, not only just on the killer side, but the survivor side. We do know, as far as on Creepy Daddy CDM side, we do know that it's the same killer we had seen last round. So again, not sure if it's just their main killer's unavailable, or maybe since it's preseason, we're not showing off the goods yet. You know what I mean? Not sure what we're seeing that, as far as that goes. But yeah, I think Blight would probably be at the top of my list. If it wasn't Blight, who would you expect?
I mean, I want to be pretty firm with my Nemesis guess, but just giving it another quick think as well. Obviously, Nemi Boy doesn't really have that much mobility, does he? But off the top of my head, I can't really find any one good killer except maybe Deathslinger, as Blood Lodge could be a really open map as well. I reckon Deathslinger has a shot on Blood Lodge, and I only say that purely because of how, well,
like
basically how very RNG based the tiles are. Yeah, and having that middle area, you can still have a lot of like gen spawns in, like you can have a hill gen spawn into a 3-gen next to only either one tile and an open dead zone, or the RNG is just the biggest factor when it comes to playing on Blood Lodge. But it does, I feel like, favor range killers like Huntress, potentially Deathslinger, to get those ranged shots as well and shut down loops in the middle. The filler loops are just a lot more dead than they normally would be, so any sort of M1 is really out of the question purely because of how big the map is. So yeah, that's my take on it, at least.
All right, it does look like we are going to be switching lobbies here. So it does look like we're switching lobbies. And also, I am getting word that we are allowing Onryo this season. So I just wanted to update that so everyone was aware she is available. Which will be interesting. I'll be interested to see if she gets picked at all.
I mean, there's obviously a lot of things that will come into play when it comes to what killer you're picking in response to what killer, or to start off as a matchup, or it really depends on the map as well. There's a lot of things that come into play with a pick, but I feel like at some point there will be an Onryo pick. For example, if it was on a map like Dead Dog Saloon, any sort of indoor map. But aside from that, I don't really see much potential for Onryo in comp.
Yeah, I feel like that's going to be one of those more like, maybe that's going to be more of the, hey, like we've got ourselves a decision one way or the other. Maybe let's just pull that out so I don't have to worry about a pick for later in the season, right? But it's preseason, so I have a feeling we won't be seeing Onryo here. But we do have King Pleb Warrior, and that is the main killer here for CDM. And I'm not sure if maybe it was a scheduling thing here or anything like that. Or if, maybe was just, happened to be sitting in and was like, you know what, let me go ahead and let me do this right quick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm hearing you loud and clear, man.
But, I mean, Blood Lodge. It was interesting because I feel like Blood Lodge got picked a little earlier than I was expecting as far as in the draft. And when I think about, it's going to be tough for Millennium, because you had mentioned, right, like it's good for, like it's hard for M1 killers on this map, you know what I mean? And if this is your home map, you're going to be playing on it a lot, which means maybe you're going to, when you're playing on it, seeing a lot of other teams S tier killers because they're expecting it to be a bigger map, but you only get limited to so many picks. So I'll be interested to see how that plays out through the season.
If I had to add one more killer to a potential choice for Blood Lodge, I'd love to see a Serpent Shadow Dance Wraith, I reckon. He wouldn't do too bad.
Yeah, I do like that pick. That'd actually be pretty solid. We see all of our offerings and everything. We've got rules and stuff here when it comes to Vigo's court, y'all. I don't know if y'all know that, but we do have things as far as for bans, what we got for builds going on. So let's talk about that while we load into trial number 3. We've got a cool few killer perks that are banned: Coup de Grace, Haunted Ground, Starshock. Allow your one-hit killers, basically. Pain Residence not allowed, Lethal Pursuer. We also, like, you got some combos: no Deathlock, no Ed, no Way Out, no Ed, stuff like that. Banned Survivor perks: no Prove Thyself, Build to Last, Boon Totems, Boil Over. Basically, you can't have any of your normal combos with Lucky Break, like no Iron Will, no Off the Record. Basically, survivors are restricted to yellow items and add-ons below. One of each item, no duplicate characters, except for borrowed time. If you have any other questions, use exclamation point rules or ask your mama, because we are going to go ahead and load right into trial number 3 here. Let's take another trip into the fog, and it's going to be a very interesting pick here. Going to be seeing the Doctor.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of check out. That's obviously very difficult to play Doctor against a very skilled team and that as well. But you do have some to be able to survivors shut down loot when even if run it's no waste and kill you. So you're seeing some very much shows of the English range of the actual chunky. I could put a nice main dock to practice for a 1v1 tourney. So we also are going to be seeing Save the Best for Last coming into play as we get that first hit onto our Claudette here. A really common perk choice, I would say, for the Doctor here. Now, Feng getting a little bit caught off guard here. It's also going to take a slap as well and try and take that chase away from that active gen that we just heard.
Yeah, and I do apologize for that, chat. I had accidentally had my robot filter on Discord. That was my sometimes just as far as Discord things. We're good now, by the way, Spoker. Unfortunately, I think they had heard the first point you had mentioned, but we do see here now moving in. I mean, we've got a couple of survivors entered. You had mentioned as far as like the strength to be able to shut down loops, right? Which we are going to be moving into the TNL over here, which it's going to be interesting to see if King Pleb, actually not making connection there, interestingly enough, as we see Ace now moving really well through the TNL, keeping things nice and tight. Actually, a little bit of hesitation from King Pleb will allow the ace back through. That is going to get cut off here by the entity, however. So that does mean now going to be needing to make the revolution back to the T-wall. I think King Pleb, is able to swing and beat things out. Really good chase until unfortunate mid-vault.
Yeah, that medium vault is going to throw a spanner in the works here, but we have had 2 gens popping so far in this trial here. A couple of slaps, a couple of stacks have saved the best. Getting set up for that mid game here, spotting out some survivors with the static blast here, keeping that ace out of position so we don't see any resets happening or anything like that. Now, I did fail to mention this main building window can be quite oppressive depending on how it spawns, as well as when it changes into a fun bus, depending on obviously what kind of window you get. But we see a nice balanced landing, I believe that was from the Nia, using her teachable perks, getting that adept. You'll love to see it.
Yeah, and we are going to see here now, you had mentioned the fun bus. Using the pallet here is the Nia. And I mean, you hear this generator right there at the Pride Rock. That thing's knocking like a Ford in the middle of winter. That thing's just about ready to go. We are going to be able to get the shock onto the Nia. Not going to be able to at least use the vault this time around. Also not going to be able to utilize it there, which should allow us to get the free M1 here at the pallet space. But the only problem is Nia was fully healthy, so still has another health state even after the M1. Going to be hearing generator number 3 pop off. Generator number 3 isn't even this generator here at Pride Rock. So, I mean, right now, Millennium survivors just pounding these gens.
Oh, 100%. And we, speaking of the devil, we're going to be seeing another gen popping across the ways here. 1 gen remaining. And we don't think we've seen a Hawk state as of just yet. So our doctor is really struggling on the Blood Lodge here. But we're going to be getting this chase back onto the ace here. And Save the Best for Last is at a very healthy point right now, where it's starting to get noticeable for the survivors that this is going to be coming into play. So hooking a non-obsession and having, well, not the obsession, going in for the save is going to be quite detrimental for the survivors. It's going to turn everything into a 1-for-1, basically. Now, our doctor here doing a great job at denying this loop here as we have Feng coming in for a hit. Beautiful coordination by the Millennium survivors here, trying to keep this chase going for as long as possible. I bet you Ace was spamming that spacebar to try and drop that pallet there, but not quite so, unfortunately. We should be seeing the down happening very soon, but we do still have another pallet to utilize here. Not going to be able to time that shot. Beautifully timed shock, actually. My mistake. Should be able to make it to this pallet, though. Oh, no.
Get behavior to big boy. You know, Grenout's punching the air right now. Gets the stun, still gets the down as well. That is going to be hook state number 1 here at this point. Going to be over, kind of over at the 3 position here in the map. We can see also that our survivors do have 2 generators pretty close together over here at the main building side, but the 3rd gen, I believe, is back over our left shoulder, more back towards Shaq. So a pretty decent gen spread here. That is also the Nia, our injured survivor, underneath us here at the building. Oh, able to catch Nia out of position. Very well done. Nice down. We do see, though, generator number 5 getting popped, and a very quick save on the Grenout as well.
Now, I just wanted to say, at this point where you start to pick up on Save the Best for Last coming into play, you'd want to be keeping your obsession healthy as much as possible and potentially going for bodies mid-chase as well to deny the stacks as much as possible. So it's unfortunate to see that Nia wasn't able to get reset and be more aggressive with the chases themselves, but we are going to be seeing our Feng here taking the next chase. Not going to be seeing any no one escapes death or anything like that. No haste icon means no worries, as we see that exit gate being opened, and we have all of our survivors. I think there was still a survivor missing, not at that exit gate. Might be going for this close by gate and then going for the rescue, which we do actually see happening. It should be a healthy survivor as well, being able to potentially take a hit and get them to the door, and we do in fact see our ace here being our culprit.
Yeah, and I mean, Ace is able to get the save here since there is no haste status. That means no Noed. So that quick tap onto the back of the Ace, yeah, got him, is going to allow our survivor here to get a nice little speed boost. Going to be seeing the Fang moving in for the body block. I believe we've also got a Claudette here as well. So that should result as far as for Millennium with 1, 2, 3 into the 4 survivors out the front door. All of them taking a little hit on the backside, but that's 4 survivors. Millennium, I mean, this is season 0, season 1's champion, and making very light work here. Might be putting the league on notice, honestly.
Oh yeah, 100%. It's always impressive to see Millennium playing, even if they are going against defending champions as well. But we have been talking about it earlier. They have been de-rusting a bit coming into this preseason, but this is exactly what a preseason is all about, right? They have the opportunity to put on their performance, see how they go, and obviously take that sort of time to improve if needed or change anything that needs to be changed. But it's great to just go up on the main stage and go with the flow, you know, see how things go.
So, I mean, we're talking about here, I mean, 80-12 through through 3 of the 4 trials, which normally during the season, we'd be playing things out. But since it is preseason, and also since we are running a little bit late and we still we kind of want to do a little bit of work on the back end, we're not going to be doing a 4th trial. But you know, I mean, 80-12. I mean, Millennium just coming out, and I don't know what to say. You know, I mean, that was honestly just really impressive to watch.
I think the only way you can really put it is that Millennium has really owned CDM here today.
Yeah, I mean, it is going to be, I think it's one, probably going to be something for CDM for them to take home with them. You know, they got some things to work on. But again, I feel like Millennium right now, I mean, to do that, like, I don't care who it is in comp, right? And even like a new comp team, just winning in that fashion is that's tough. I mean, to be fair, Millennium is one of our, when you look across the board, was one of our higher ranked teams when we talk about power rankings, right? For the season, but again, I hate to feel like I keep reiterating the point, but wow, you know.
Yeah, it's always a very tough, well, not so much topic, but like it's just a tough thing to, you know, have to commentate over, because like it's really just so one-sided with how it has actually played out. But at the end of the day, like, there's always going to be time and opportunity to improve, and I feel like that's exactly what CDM's going to be doing here. So looking at whatever positive there is there, and just, you know, that happened. Let's not make that happen again. Let's
right
smash out the scrim, do what we gotta, and let's get it done, fellas.
I mean, the good thing too is it's preseason, right? So I mean, you mentioned you do have time to, you know, find whatever it was that you felt you know was the big thing here that you felt kind of led to the result here. But when we talk about power rankings, right? I mean, Millennium is ranked 3rd. I know I said ranked high, but I mean, this is our 3rd ranked team heading into preseason. So I don't want the point difference to be like, I think it's really more about Millennium, what Millennium did right than what CDM did wrong, if we're being perfectly honest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly right. You can do really, really well in a game, for example, have a really good early game and just have that snowball into being an even better end game, and in turn, that momentum just across each game progressively going forward. You're playing against the same team. You know, obviously the momentum and the morale will sort of get a bit lower as the games go on, and the team on top, it's just easier to maintain that dominant stance, I guess. And that's exactly what we saw with Millennium being able to stay consistent across the board and maintain that sweep, you know?
So normally when we get to the end, we normally have our interrogation room. It is preseason. So that's going to be it as far as for this matchup. It is not it for as far as Vigo's matchups today. We actually are going to have one here in about 38 minutes. If you guys are here and you aren't already following, make sure you smack that follow button down there in that bottom left-hand corner. Turn those notifications on. Of course, I believe we have a Discord link that drops through. If not, I'm sure one of the mods will probably drop it when we get to this point in the video, since we are on the delay. Make sure you guys have that if you want to keep up to date as far as what we've got going on. But we will be back here in a, like I said, in a little bit. We'll be back at 3 o'clock. We've got Modern Retro. Why am I free? Versus Chronicles coming in there. So should be a good game. That's Spoker. I'm your boy Q. That is going to be Millennium convicted of murder. Until we catch y'all back here for the next one, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. We'll catch y'all back in a bit. Peace.
That was a missed decisive strike. So before the first gen even pops.
And we do see Death Wish convicted of murder here, as you can see by the score to the final set.